It had mould on the top, so I'm not going to eat it, but I will paint with it.
With me, I put my whole life out on Instagram and on Facebook, and I'm not private at all. So people tend to know David, and they tend to know my grandchildren.
I think we need a hashtag for David.
Bloody oath. No, irritating, annoying David. David, you put your thumb over it again. Why is it so complicated?
So nice to have everybody so enthusiastic about the classes.
All that positive feedback for me as a person, as an artist, I just love the whole aspect of putting it out there, getting feedback. Feeling so blessed to be here in this beautiful spot. We've got one boat, and we've got Dave. Wave, Dave. David, wave. Basically, Patonga is all sand with 200 houses.
Here he comes, here he comes, here he comes.
Actually used to live in the city. I had a lot of trouble with inspiration. I couldn't think of anything to paint. Now I'm inundated with choice, and it's pretty fabulous. So I'll go home and make magic, or go into the studio and make more shit. We're having an occupational mental health day. I'm finding that this is all getting a little bit too real. No seeing the grandchildren. Artists sound so romantic, but it's all the other stuff that goes with it. It's not that romantic. While artists work in solo, they're not solitary. They're in isolation. Artists don't work in isolation. They've got workshops. You actually do rely on that interaction with people when you're actually going down to the framer and you're talking about how it's going to be framed and pick up and drop off and things like that. I'll spend a day hanging in Balmain, maybe once a week, once a fortnight. And that's a whole social thing. So you have lunch with your directors and you catch up. We haven't been able to do that. So I'm looking at the beautiful surrounds of Dark Corner. If you want happiness, you just look around you, what you're actually looking at, a shape, all the little imperfections and all the little bits of things that make it an interesting shape, not just one line. Shade it using the charcoal, the side of the charcoal, use your rubber. That's what's so fabulous about art. It's observing nature, observing the colour, observing the line, the shape that makes up this beautiful world. Look at that. Welcome to my studio. I've come in here today and I thought I'd just do a self-portrait. When you look at it, you might think I'm a little miserable, but I'm not. I'm okay. Hello. She's a little bit miserable. Ooh. Anyway, no, she's not miserable. So what I'm doing is a new body of work, because I'm selling quite well. I'm really happy with how it's going. And these drawings are all what I've done on the banks of the Ovens River. And I've got about 3 paintings on the go at the moment. I'm finding that the artists are talking about the fact that they're finding the isolation quite upsetting, because they are in their small studio, they can't go and get their inspiration that they normally do. And they're just sort of getting anxious about it all. So yeah, I think you need to feed off people. And if you're not feeding off people and their reactions to your work, you have to rely on the social media and the internet. And unless you get that back, what's the point? First time I've actually gone on the ferry for over a month. I've been quite anxious because there's lots of people but there's nobody. So yeah, it's all empty, it's got travel essential purposes only, there's markings everywhere. So it makes me feel better that I'm actually not opening the gallery because there's obviously nobody around. That was terrible, even from the street. Making sales. So I've been doing a newsletter every week, which I normally do every 2 weeks, and putting sale items on that stockroom. But also I thought, okay, and I do like the sound of my own voice. The artists at Balmain, they have a solo. I'm doing an interview and then putting it online as part of their promotion. It tends to be a lot of Vanessa, blah, 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 and a bit of them. I find that art has made such a difference to my life before all this, but I realise now that it's so encompassing, so many things to help people through this time. I'm so grateful for my art. I find it always surprising how much art sells. It is such a personal thing that they're going to put on their wall and they have to love it, you know.
exhausted from doing this whole bloody COVID thing. So I have to calm down and just start not doing as much. When it all happened, my husband says I'm like a sparkle or a rocket. I get really excited and boom, 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 and I'm sort of fading. I'm thinking now maybe I need to take some time off doing all the stuff I was doing to try and get the gallery promoted and the artists happy and all that, to just slow down and lie on the couch. But then you think when you lie on the couch, it's hard to get back up again. I've come down from Patonga. Can you get in there?
Yep. And I'm hanging my solo. This time yesterday I had nothing to put in the show, so what I've decided, I'm going to have a sale, and that's usually quite good because then people get an opportunity to get original art really cheap. Yeah, that way.
The process that Vanessa uses is one of test with the public. Rather than, here's my painting, isn't it wonderful? Oh, it didn't sell. Not what sells necessarily from a cosmetic point of view, but more about what people engage with. Vanessa will put stuff up in here that is, people come in and they'll talk about it for half an hour. And that's a measure of success because people are engaging with the painting.
I think it's all about not taking yourself too seriously, and that's why I try to be real, and if it's shit, it's shit, and it's crap, you know.